So this is a video I've been wanting to make for a while now, and it's to give a really general overview of all these tabs in the default Redshift shader. I've looked around YouTube and I haven't seen too much explanation of it, so I hope that I can provide some breakdown of how things are. Redshift is a really robust package, and there's a lot in each material that gives you a very complete amount of settings. So without further ado, here is Redshift Materials Explained. So opening up Cinema 4D, and we're just going to go to the material editor and create ourselves a default material. Standard Redshift shader. And I just want to go through all of these properties to give a general overview of how they work and what they do. So let's start with the base. So the base material is where you can specify the object's diffuse color. A diffuse color is the very basic color of our model. And it's the color under pure white light. So light hits the shader at all points and it reflects back to the viewer equally. A good way to describe it is the essential color of the material. And then we're going to move on to reflection. So reflection is a setting that tells us how much we want our object to reflect light from our lighting setup, as well as parts of the environment. It is light at a concentrated point of the material. Another term for this is specular reflection. And since Redshift always has global illumination, this specular always has a reflectivity to it, and it reflects the environment. And let's take a look at the transmission. So transmission is essentially the refraction properties. So it's how much we can see through the shader and how the index of refraction is inside of the shader, and also how much distortion is inside of the refraction. This is used for elements such as glass and plastics. And then we have the subsurface. Subsurface is how much subsurface scattering that we want inside of our material. It is a way that we simulate light passing through the surface of an object that gets scattered inside of the geometry. So this is for an organic material such as skin, or wax candles, or gummy candy, or certain types of plastics. And then we have Sheen here. Sheen simulates backscatter, an effect that is a specular type of property that simulates the shininess of things such as velvet or satin. It's like a very rough reflection, and it's diffuse reflection due to the scattering of the light. Almost to the end, we have thin film. So thin film is used to simulate a thin light refracting layer above the base layer of the specular material. It's kind of like how you would think about it, a thin film. This gives a shimmering effect and can be used on things such as shiny gift wrap, or a soapy bubble, or light metal. And coat. So coat is kind of like thin film, and it gives additional reflective layer over the base material instead of refractive, and can be used to simulate things like clear coat over car paint, a shiny coat over plastic, or a slimy or wet surface. A good way to think about this is it's like applying a varnish to a wooden table. It gives the material another layer of reflectivity. Moving on to emission. So emission is very simple, and it allows for the object to illuminate light from the material. When it's turned on, the illuminated light is rendered into the global illumination calculation. This is useful for things such as neon lights or street signs. And finally, we have the geometry tab. Opacity means turning the material entirely opaque. It is given the alpha channel, and where you can plug in an alpha matte to make the object partially or fully transparent or invisible. When you enable thin walled, it tells the program that the walls of the object that is transparent is very thin, and there is not enough distance to travel in the walls for light bending to have effect. This is useful for modeling very thin glass where you don't notice any real heavy distortion. So it's kind of like wearing a pair of fake glasses. You look through them, but you don't see any distortion because the lenses are fake. This is because there's not enough material to cause distortion. Next we have overall tint, which is a parameter that allows you to tint the whole material after the lighting has been calculated. This is useful when you plug things into it, such as ambient occlusion, or make some crazy effects with textures. And finally we have effects emission. Now this is affecting emission in reference to the overall tint. So it allows for the overall tint to affect emission or light coming from the material. So I hope that was useful, guys, and that you took a lot from it, and thanks for watching. If you liked that video, please subscribe to my channel, School of CG, for more tips and tutorials. Have a great day.